Just got our sled work in, which is the lowest level of knees over toes. My co-host, Derek Williams, aka Mr. Infinity, because he actually hasn't aged. He's 3,000 years old, and he's here dropping the truth on us. Now, I consider myself an unlucky guy, but I have 7 questions for you. If you think you're unlucky, these questions helped me go from unlucky to lucky. So let's dive in together. I'm going to be using Derek as the test subject. Hopefully he has a good year. He signed a waiver in case it doesn't work out for him. The Knees Over Toes Challenge. No harm, no foul. Question number 1. What do you want to get luckier about?
And just to segue in, man, like, Dennis set the precedent and example for this challenge. You know what I'm saying? He went through a whole year showing us what this challenge will do for someone. So I'm excited, man, to dig in and kind of like try this challenge out. You know what I'm saying? I consider myself a pretty strong-willed person. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like this is going to take me to another stratosphere of life. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to get luckier about, man, is just helping ATG grow as a brand and help book sales.
There's a target.
All right, give me a target.
We already nailed one down.
All right, he pulled
Because
it out.
You want to pick something measurable.
Okay.
So we know how many times our book together sells, right?
True.
Now that's something that if Oprah talked about your book, you get lucky. You're set. You wouldn't have to work a day the rest of the year. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's an example of something lucky. We all have something like that. A job promotion, getting a job we want. Now, you might have a bunch of things you want to get lucky about, but I just threw this out of the hat because we wrote this book so recently. That's something that's like, oh, we got lucky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the luck part. But Derek brought me to realize why, was I so driven to want to get. So for me, let's say it was more followers, right?
Yeah.
So I just hit 1 million followers. Never could have imagined I would get that lucky to have 1 million followers. That's what we're breaking down with these 7 questions. So you want to pick for yourself, what do you want to get luckier about, but then why? So why would it matter to you? Why'd you write the book? Why do you want the book to spread?
I love that, man. You have to have something measurable, and I think that's key. And why is, like I always say, man, I want to be an example. I want this book to represent something. I want this to represent possibility for people, because I know a lot of people out here are sick, bodies broken down, kind of lives are going south, and I want this book to represent opportunity, and be an example. Like I always say, man, I had a hard knock life because I didn't have anybody in my environment to set an example for me. And so I have 2 sons, 19 and 16, and I want them to be able to follow a path that's already been set. So I think that's my biggest why, is to be an example.
That's your fire.
Yeah.
You're going to wake up every morning and you're going to want to be an example for your kids every morning. So you got to have that why that's going to give you motivation every morning. It can't just be about, if it wasn't the kids, would you get tired of selling this? Maybe. There has to be a why. For me, the why was really as simple as, like, I went through so much knee struggles, and the more you Google it, you have to go back probably 100 pages to find something you can do about your knees. Then come to find out, oh my gosh, I could do stuff about my knee pain. I could have great knees. I could dunk a basketball. I was talking to my dad last night. He never told me this the whole time, but he was saying, to tell you the truth, he did not think I would ever dunk a basketball.
Wow.
He thought it was anatomically impossible. And he never wanted to tell me that. He never told me, never told my mom that he didn't believe I'd dunk a basketball.
Wow.
But my point is just, that's something now that I've been able to achieve. But Google was only saying rest, ice, painkillers, surgeries. It said you could lose weight. I was already skinny and had knee problems. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's nothing I could do. So why do I want 1 million followers? Because now when you start Googling stuff, you actually find something you can do about your knees. That's my drive. And Google still is not all the way there. Google should say, number 1, start following Knees Over Toes Guy, honestly, because that has the most success for your knees. You see what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not even close. So I'm still fired up every day, as long as Google is not telling you anything you can do. So that's my drive, right? I have 1 million followers. I want 10 million. It's going to take at least 10 million to get Google to change even more. So we both have.
So your measurable is 10 million?
10 million followers.
And your why is?
If I don't have 10 million followers, too many people are still going to be searching and not knowing that they could start going backward with the sled. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we've established questions 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Now, the world is full of wonderful entertainment sources. Some of them may be good for us. Some of them may be bad for us.
Yeah.
So now my question for you and for you is, what entertainment are you going to cut out at least Monday through Friday? It has to be something that's not getting you closer to your goals. What are you going to cut out Monday through Friday?
And I think everybody right now, I think you already said it, but should have a notebook and a pen and paper and kind of like pause and write these things out. Because this is good for me and to just reflect on, you know? So
me too.
Entertainment is, like you said, man, everything is trying to pull, distract, because attention is the new money, the new currency. Like, you know what I'm saying? And what you give your attention on, man, is like where your power is going. And so
I'll grill you.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll grill you. Do you watch TV shows?
No.
Because he's already like the most disciplined guy I know. So already off the bat, I would have failed that question.
You watch TV?
I used to love watching TV shows.
Yeah.
What about Netflix?
No.
Okay, I would have failed that one too. Netflix. What about video games?
No.
In my teens, I would have failed that one. What about porn?
No.
Okay, I would have failed that one in my teens. So already, look at how much I removed for myself from my past, right?
Wow.
What about like sports games other than your kids' sports games? Do you watch sports games?
One thing I'll say, I will cut out 2022. I'm gonna cut out scrolling on social media. You know, I think 5 days a week I can go without jumping into somebody else's reality and somebody else's dream. And so that's one thing I do get pulled in when my mind is kind of everywhere. I distract myself with a scroll. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like me being more conscious about that will help me to like really lock in on these goals, these whys, and these purposes that are really gonna turn me into the success I want to be. You know?
Beautiful. And I'm so into systems, and so I've actually worked on the scrolling thing. Yeah. And what I found is that I'm now good at not scrolling during the week, but I have a list for myself of pages I check in on. Joe Rogan, Gary Vee, your page. That's why you might see me every now and then, just like a bunch of likes on your vid, because I go check it. Yeah. So if you're gonna go no scrolling, set yourself up for success. And at least list down the pages that are improving your life. Yeah. Then on the weekend when you scroll, something might catch your eye and go, oh wow, that page gets me fired up. Oh wow, that page is knowledgeable. You could add that to your list. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So set yourself up for success.
What I mean is unconscious scrolling. Like it sounds like you're consciously
going and checking the page rather than just let me see what I find. Because often when I'm going, let me see what I find, I end up depressed by the end of that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Because I like social media, don't get me wrong, but I feel like sometimes I'm unconsciously going it instead of being conscious. Like I consciously go to KneesOverToesGuy to see what I can learn, where he's at, where his mind's at, how's he's growing. But you feel
and I have quite a few like that I study. Yeah. So we've established that of what entertainment you're going to cut out Monday through Friday. And to be clear, that could be a win even if you cut out one thing. You could cut out one addiction and that would be a win.
Man, it's a big win.
This thing is all about setting up you for a win. So Monday through Friday, look, I went the whole last year, all 365, and rolled around this year and not one break, not one time entertainment. But before we get confused on entertainment, there's a difference between entertainment and technology. So one thing I had to do with technology is I had to cut out TV, Netflix, all that stuff. I cut out sports games, right? But technology, if you're 16 and you're trying to be the next Damian Lillard, you better be studying every game, right? So that's technology. The fact that 50 years ago, you couldn't study every game of your favorite player. Yeah. Now you can actually do that. So technology versus entertainment. For me, what I had to do is I had to study guys and girls who were doing well on social media, but who weren't like selling out, and they're just trying to help people. You know, like that's what I get my joy out of, trying to help people. So I found the top pages on Instagram and YouTube where you could see the purpose was to help people. The purpose wasn't to get views. The purpose was to help people, but they got views because they did it well. And I studied those pages and I copied their font and I copied their style. And so what technology, if any, do you actually need to focus more on this year? You see what I mean? You can't, cutting out the technology, you don't want to skew those lines. Technology, entertainment, some people just think of it all the same. No. The fact you can listen to a podcast now with geniuses in different fields, that's technology helping. So is there any technology you need to focus more on this year?
I think after listening to you, man, and I want to ask you a question. Was there any runway to get you from point A to point B as far as like getting rid of all these things? Like, or was your purpose were you so deep in your purpose that you said, okay, all right, this year I'm done? Like,
So you knew we've been friends a long time, and you knew I already had kind of this mantra of like anything that happens to me, like no excuses. You know what I mean? Just take it as a sign, right?
That's very true. He's always doing
when I
that.
got a dog, he chewed up my remote. That was like 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So I did a whole year no entertainment because I took it as a sign. I need to get my shit together. Started taking him on morning walks. Started thinking more creatively. Did no TV for the year. That was the year I came up with Knees Over Toes Guy. Because I was like, dang, what am I trying? I started thinking like this. Had a great year. A couple of years went by, back into the TV shows. So to start 2021, I was like, and now I had a baby. So it's kind of similar to like when I got the dog. It was kind of like, I need to level, like, how am I going to get luckier this year? And so I cut out all entertainment. And I did, as you'll see in the later steps, I did no cheat meals either, which is deeper than it sounds. So that was, 2021 was by far the most disciplined year of my life. Like, not even close. So I kind of used those things as signs, and I just went all in. There was no, like, runway.
I love it, man. You shot to the moon. But to answer your question, I always live by the premise, man, never listen to anyone in any field that's not experiencing the results you want to produce. And so I'd rather be myself with my own thoughts than be trying to tune into something that's not going to lift me up in a positive way. So as far as technology is concerned, I do like to listen to podcasts from mentors.
Top authors.
Authors.
How are they? Where are the top authors? What podcasts are they on? Do you see? I mean, that could be interesting. Relentlessly study the top authors. That could be something.
And you see how he keeps, one thing about Ben, he makes me be measurable. And I feel like that's the key. And sometimes my mind is there. I say these things, but I feel like what you're doing is making things measurable. And I think that's the key to being successful at this challenge, you know? So I appreciate
Turning
that.
it into systems.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
So Derek's already off on the right track. He's gonna sell tens of thousands of, he's gonna sell 100,000 plus books this year. And he's gonna do that and set an example for his kids that will change the rest of their life. And he's gonna cut out scrolling during the week and instead be studying the top authors and figuring out. So that's how far we've gotten, 4 steps.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna do the same thing with food. Now, again, let me remind you that this podcast is only to help you if you're not getting as lucky as you want. If you're getting as lucky as you want, you don't need this,
moving.
right? I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you things to measurably give you more time and more energy on what you want. So for me, this looks really good. I love smell that, right?
A fresh baked boy too. That's a fresh boy.
Okay. I haven't had one of these in over a year.
Man, like, listen.
I'm gonna watch the security cameras tonight in here. See what Derek does.
I got to put those in the bag. My boy Forrest gonna take them out here for me.
Yeah, I could pop down about 6 of these. Now, why did cutting this out make me luckier? The reason is because I'm not gonna look back on my life and go, dang, you remember that one cookie I ate? I had a life well lived. No one ever thought that in their entire life. Yeah. You're gonna remember the friends you had, the accomplishments you made. But at the end of the day, at the end of a terrible day, this can make me happy for a little bit. So this is short-term happy. You are happy for a second, for sure.
Yeah. You tickling yourself, for sure.
You're happy for a second.
Yeah.
But you could be, this could be taking your focus away from the work you need to put in to make yourself truly happy. This ain't making my family happy. You know what I mean? And guess who's going to be really happy if my family's happy? I'm going to be the happiest guy in the world if my family's happy. And this is not making my family happy. So it's not about trying to make you live like a monk. Because what did we say? Monday through Friday. Yeah. I went 365 last year. But you know what? My kid's going to be 2 this year. And if it's his birthday party and he says, Daddy, I want you to whatever, I'll do it. But he's going to know that Monday through Friday, Daddy doesn't play around. Yeah. And guess what? He's gonna think of life differently. He's gonna be way mentally tougher. Mm-hmm. So you still have 104 days to live like the sheep. You could live like the sheep 104 days. Think about that win. Every time you go 1 week of this type of a challenge, you just live differently than 99.99% of the sheep out there. So take a win. I really don't think 1 day is gonna work. I think you gotta go 5 days. Then you still got the weekend. It's 104 days a year. So what foods are you? What foods are you cutting out?
I think this gets to the point now, Ben. You probably been going so long. This probably doesn't even look good to you anymore.
No,
honestly, keep it real.
All right, keeping it real. when you're away from it, you're like easy. When I was standing there like in line at the bakery, I'm like, damn, dang, this stuff is really good. And I'm like, this stuff is really cheap and a lot of calories. I mean, like, society's like set up to make it really easy to go after that. However, I went and then got my fruit dessert, and I realized, well, shit, fruit's actually just as cheap as the desserts in the bakery aisle. Yeah. Anyways, my point is that this still looks really good to me. Okay. Yeah. There's no secret weapon there. Yeah. But you can go Monday through Friday, turn your luck into your favor. So is there anything, what are you cutting out this year?
I like what you said, man. Like, I like how you laying these out, man. Because as I'm going through this in my mind, establishing a purpose and establishing a why and having really a measurable goal, it helps you distinguish, okay, what entertainment to cut out and what foods is going to take me closer to my goals or further away from my goals.
Right.
You know, and so I think subconsciously we all know what's going to do that, you know, and so obviously the processed foods, the sugars.
I remember you telling me about cereal. You got a little cereal thing at night.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah, I cut that out though, B. I cut that out. But cereal and then.
Is there anything else Monday through Friday that you're cutting out? And I would keep this as a list in your notes in your phone, meaning like tomorrow, things might occur to you. So what I do is I make lists and then I keep them up to date. It's not like I just write it and like throw it away. I keep my notes in my phone so things will occur to me. Oh, I need to study this. I need to study that. So I keep these lists. So keep this list of 7 questions.
I'm gonna go 365 with 0 processed foods.
Wow. All right. All right.
0 processed foods.
He said it.
Like, you know what I mean?
Good
Brick check, man. We talk.
All right.
Ben, I'm
check
telling
mine
you, man,
and then stop watching.
I've never seen.
Because that's pretty good. But then I saw it this morning. I said, all right, we're going no brick.
I've never seen this guy not shredded,
brick
man.
Check. Same to him.
No,
but
it's crazy.
That's probably another conversation for another day. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, because
for real.
He comes in here and kicks my ass on the sled, and he's 43. So I'm going, I'm 30. I'm young.
You're fresh.
I'm young. I have no excuses not to be more athletic 10 years from now because of him. So
thank you, bro.
Is there any food you need to focus more on? For me, I had to add fruit, meaning like by cutting out like the junk carbs, I realized I was doomed for failure if I didn't get to have like fruit at night. So that saved me. I swapped the junk, which we know is not as good for the immune system, for fruit, which is good for the immune system. And I've been, crazy healthy.
He's buzzing, man. So, his creativity is through the roof. So
any food you need to focus more on?
For me, man, I like to focus on more of just make sure I get out in nature more.
Okay.
Make sure I get like enough sunlight. Make sure I do I'm able to breathe properly. I'm like reducing my stress by like just focusing in, like, you know what I'm saying, taking time to myself. So those are foods to me, like really keeping my mind in a state. You know what I mean? So
now, if you cut out the processed food, does that mean that the sun and the nature balances you out, or do you think you actually is there something nutritionally you actually are going to need to put in there?
I haven't found a food that I'm like, I gotta eat. Like, you know what I'm saying? I never found for me.
He's already way ahead of
for me,
where I was.
I'm not like, I gotta, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't even like having that sort of addiction in my mind. Like, you know
I've
what I'm
always
saying?
been like that.
Huh? What's that? Like,
I've got to have like my Chick-fil-A or, like I've always been addictive.
Yeah, I mean, food is an addiction, man. I feel like that's another topic of discussion.
You're already way ahead of us. All right, so you're going to get more nature, and that's going to balance you out.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So then the 7th question is, what's your sled? And so what that means is that this is something we can go do. Derek does it every single day.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say it's a win if you do it at least 5 days a week. At the old ATG, before you heard of Knees Over Toes Guy, we adopted this, me and Derek, of doing sled before every workout. That was what ATG was. Then COVID hits, gyms are shut down. I have 10,000 questions of what do I do to mimic the sled. That's what made me come up with the 0 thing of like, how do you get your feet and ankles and shin? Like, how do you work from the ground up and get that circulation and everything? So that's been really cool. Thousands of knee success stories. But we got to have sleds in every gym, because that's the thing that my mom and dad can go do. It's both of their favorite workout in the world. I put my 80-year-old neighbors on it. You know what I mean? Yeah. When you do it, it makes you healthier, but you work really hard and you get those hormones going. So for me, that sled makes it easier to not watch a show. That sled makes it easier to not go try to get that, every time I sled, I'm less like, no way. Or I'm more like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, that sled is a huge piece of the puzzle. So it's kind of like, what's your sled? And Drewski, we can pull this up and show people some options. So, I mean, you're the king. This is probably the first person in the world who started doing sled every day. And then I actually followed him. We used to do it on Fridays.
You remember?
I started seeing him age backwards, getting jealous of him. And I'm like, he's sledding every day. So yeah, Drew, you can pull up on the screen and show various options so we can show people. But maybe you can finish it out on the sled. This is the final question.
Yeah, sledding for me has been like more of a therapy. And I feel like Ben has turned me on to the sled. And a lot of things that I incorporate in my life, man, I owe to Knees Over Toes Guy. You know, he saved my knee, he saved my ankle, he saved my hips, you know. And the sled was one of the pinnacle of what changed me. You know, I was able to really realize, man, I can incorporate strength training, cardio, and get a hormone boost all in one, you know, and a stress reliever. And so my sled is the sled. You know, I want to continue to do this sled every day. When you find something that works for you, why stop? So I'm gonna continue to kind of come in here and push myself and set an example. You know, I think the sled is just, like you said, man, it sets the standard for, okay, you don't want to eat and do the sled. You don't want to have extra body weight and pushing the sled. You know what I mean? You want to be on the top of your game. You don't want to waste
that effort you put in.
Yeah.
And it gets you get that euphoric feeling that you get from the cookie.
So man, me and him just pitched. I don't know how many pounds you think that was over there. A lot.
I don't know, but there's a lot of different ways you can use the sled.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is that you just go at least as much backward as forward. And our program's on an app, so you could be following like one gym, but you can do it anywhere for cheap. That was always the goal. As an in-person trainer, I'm terrible. I don't charge enough, you know.
Nah.
So that became,
same.
Maybe your flaws are your best thing. Because if I wouldn't have been so crazy to be like, I want to make this like super cheap for anyone, that became my career. So we have so many other tips for you that I could go into on how to be successful. Those will be other podcasts for later days. I think.
What's your sled, B?
Fucking sled.
Yeah, 7 days. You want 7 days? 365?
Yeah. If we got to go on a trip or something, I got to do extra the day before.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you.
Derek sled the example. Now, I'm a great observer. That's our whole program is just great observations from throughout history, dating back from the 1800s to now, everything in between. And so, boom, he sled the example. I'm following him. Now we're sledding the example for the world, and we're changing so many lives. So let's leave it there because those are the 7 that, you know, helped me get that 1 million followers. And that 1 million followers represents probably the most knees helped ever, probably the most people educated on knees ever. And we have more, but this is podcast episode number 1. This is its own list. We have other lists and things to improve your life. We're going to be back next week with Derek's longevity hacks.
Stay tuned.
Much love. See ya.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.